Hey everyone, Kaysharic here. I've got questions and I hope you've got answers. So pretty much the question posed to me on the podcast today was, why do women like the Machiavellian, dark triad, Freudian personality type kind of thing? And I don't think the answer is so simple as, okay, well, women just like chaos when they experience chaos. That's sometimes a thing, but I think it's more biological and innate than that. When a man actually has the ability to protect and provide for a woman and help her and keep her safe the way that actually God intended them to, that's actually very arousing and emotionally stimulating and seductive to a woman. Kind of like the way it would be to a man if a woman was standing naked in front of him or trying to use her body to seduce him. If a woman doesn't have a father in her life to protect her, she's going to be looking around to get guidance and leadership and protection from a man. A good man, normally speaking, but if she can't find a good man, she's just going to be looking for whatever is going to serve her. Now, that's where they might come to men that are like in the streets, doing like gangbanging or whatever, and the guy might be a villain but not a monster, and so maybe she'll like him. And especially if she sees that he's able to maybe beat people up, or she can see that he's capable to protect her, like physically, mentally, emotionally, and no one's gonna be able to push him around. Like, he doesn't take nonsense from anybody. She'll be like, okay, well, he's not the greatest guy, moral wise, obviously, if he's living the street life, but at least he'll protect me. And it's easy for a lot of women to make that decision because the Christians today are not actually doing their job. And I'm a Christian. I was raised a Christian. I was raised by a single father. He's an amazing and exceptional man. And, all things considered, I was very difficult growing up for sure, probably. But that's not the typical case that we see. Women today are used to the good guys being too afraid to say their opinions a lot of the times, and too afraid to actually, fight for their family and protect them the way that God tells them to, because the Bible says that men are supposed to love their wives the way that Christ loved the church, which means that you should be willing to die for your family, and men today are, a lot of them, not willing to. There are, many, but on the majority, I don't think so. So much so that God says he doesn't even hear the prayers or answer the prayers of a man who doesn't protect and provide for his wife and family. So if women are not seeing men doing this, then they're going to go where they can to find it, because they ultimately do need protection from somebody. And if they can't find it from a good man, they're going to go to the next man that can give it to him, regardless of what his morals or his values are, because a woman wants to be safe, because women can't actually protect themselves in society. And if we're arguing that women can protect themselves from bad men, then we're saying that women actually don't need men at all. And no, I'm not condoning that a woman will go and, do something like that. However, if we acknowledge the fact that women don't have the agency of men as men, and they do in fact need good fathers to guide them and show them how to have that cooperative relationship with a good man, and to vet those good men for her so that she can actually be safe from harm and danger, then we're acknowledging the fact that without that structure and the foundation growing up, she's going to be in a lot of trouble trying to find that throughout her life. And instead of focusing on proper character, she's going to focus on security, provision, safety, and whatnot, which will inherently put her into a lot of problems. But again, she doesn't have the agency of men as men. That's just impossible. It's just not going to happen. If she did, if women did it as a whole, like I said, they just wouldn't need men. But as we know, men and women do in fact need each other. So do women actually like the dark triad personality type? I think maybe the ones who are raised in chaos, for sure, there's that situation where if you're raised in chaos, you're used to it and whatever, it's familiar or whatever. But as a whole, I think in large, women in society are just taking what they can get, especially if they're fatherless. They really don't have much of a shot of a chance, if we're being honest. They truly are set up for failure, which is why the Bible says in Isaiah 68 to help the fatherless, the widow, and the oppressed, because those are the ones that go around doing the most damage, and those are the ones who are set up with the shortest end of the stick possible. So yeah, tell me what you guys think.